Star-Lord, Master of the Sun is everywhere right now, and whether you want to play this deck or beat it, you need to understand exactly how it works, and if you want to know that, you're in the right place. Hey, what's up everybody? Kicker of Elves here. Hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you're at. Today I've got a deck guide on the premier Star-Lord Master of the Sun deck. This card is absolutely warping the metagame. This is the deck to beat. All decks are either trying to replicate what this deck is trying to do or teching in specific ways to make sure they can beat it. Whether you have Star-Lord Master of the Sun and want to get the most out of your Season Pass card, or you just want to know what's going on with this deck so you can beat it, you're in the right place. So holistically, what this list is trying to do is essentially be better Mr. Negative. I know that sounds intense, but that's where we're at. Star-Lord Master of the Sun is the best energy cheat card in the game, and if you are able to ideally play him on turn 4 and then replicate his effect on turn 5 with cards like Arnim Zola, Grandmaster, and Absorbing Man, you're going to be able to put out a ton of power on the final turn of the game with cards like Fang Foom, Zola in the Fang Foom, Alioth and Juggernaut, even just doing like big card in a lane where you're winning with a ton of points and then Juggernauting another location, you know how much I love that strategy, really works here. So this list holistically is giving cards that really haven't seen a lot of attention, like Bruce Banner, like Jim Hammond, like freaking Alioth. 6 costs have been very bad for so long, but because of the effective energy cheat from Star-Lord and his power scaling, these cards are able to see the light of day. Fang Foom was already a ridiculous meta tyrant before the launch of Star-Lord Master of the Sun, but it is now just, it's probably going to get nerfed. But most importantly, holistically, when you look at this deck, you might think, oh, Mr. Negative, if I don't get Star-Lord, which you really only need to get him by turn 4 or even turn 5, I'm dead in the water. That is not the case. We have a really great backup plan with Luna Snow, Absman, and Wave. If you play Luna Snow on 3, Absman on 4, Wave on 5, or even just like Wave 5 with a Grandmaster on a Luna Snow, you're going into turn 6 with all your 6 costs, and Fang Foom 7 costs, we're just going to say 6 costs, reduced down to 4, so you can play 2 of your 6 costs or one of them plus Juggernaut. It's really, really, really strong. The muscle memory, if you've been playing for a long time, you got to treat this like a high evo list. To meet Star-Lord Master of the Sun's condition, we need to be floating energy every turn. So we're playing Jim Hammond on 2, Bruce Banner on 3, unless you have Luna Snow, so on and so forth. Doing this just creates a massive amount of energy, which can pump into your Jim Hammond and open you up for either huge power plays or proactive tech plays that make it so, provided your opponent doesn't know what you're doing, and many of them do, if they are confident and you have priority, you can get pretty decent cube equity unless they just full on retreat because of cards like Alioth, like Juggernaut, like Absman with any of those. You can just put out unpredictable shutdowns that just make this deck so strong. This is what Negative wishes it could be when it grows up, because it gets to run a lot more tech than just a 3-cost Shang-Chi, which, if in metas other than this one, isn't that incredible. But this list is incredible. As I've said in the last couple of videos, don't want to be overly negative, even though I'm making a lot of Mr. Negative references. I do not love this list. I do not love the meta we're in right now. But for everybody else that's playing, trying to hit infinite or achieve whatever rank goals you have this season, ignoring this list is to just, it's the meme of the dog sitting in the room on fire being like, this is fine. You need to know what's going on with this so you can maximize your potential. So without further ado, as always, I think the best way for us to understand just what this list is trying to do and understand all the play lines is to go into a detailed card-by-card breakdown. So let's dive into that. Jim Hammond finally gets his moment in the sun. I think this is the first ever, actually legit Jim Hammond list. I don't think there's ever really been a time before this. Like maybe when he first came out, because it's around the time of Fallen 1, it's like, oh, we'll do Fallen 1 and get a bunch. He has been an F tier card pretty much since his release, but now he's just skyrocketing in effectiveness. He is maybe the biggest mirror breaker for Star-Lord Master of the Sun list. If your opponent's playing this and you're able to get a Jim Hammond out, again, ideally on turn 2 or even turn 3 if you have to, if you can see you have a Star-Lord combo, this card gets to like 10 plus power easily. A play line that I particularly love with Jim Hammond is you want to try to keep him in the left or right location because of the way that you're stacking your Star-Lords. There's often going to be big Star-Lords there because of Grandmaster or Zola or Absman that you don't need to have your Jim Hammond there straight away, but he just gets gigantic. If you're doing the play line with Star-Lord where you're playing Star-Lord and then absorbing, what's it called? Arnim Zola in the Star-Lord, and then Grandmastering the Arnim Zola into the middle, and you have Jim Hammond in the middle in that case, you're either copying 2 Jim Hammonds, which are going to get massive, or copying 2 more Star-Lords to get that 1 Jim Hammond huge. You do have to be careful of opposing Fang Fooms. That's just something you're going to have to worry about. You will, at the very least, force them to play into that location and commit their 7 energy there. But that's kind of the only worry here. We're not seeing a ton of destroy. Maybe that does spark up. But right now, Jim Hammond Human Torch is an incredible power generator for the combo deck you're playing here. Bruce Banner, another card that's getting a lot of love here. He did see some love in end of turn lists for some time, but then Lockheed came out and it's like, all right, we should just play Lockheed over Bruce. But because we are constantly trying to float energy and just frankly looking for something to do in those early turns where we need to play off curve, getting your free 214, very helpful. This list doesn't have a ton of huge power plays, if that makes sense. Like, yes, our Star-Lord gets big. Yes, our Absman gets big. But we don't have our finisher in terms of huge power is Fang Foom Zola or Fang Foom Absorbing Man. So just having a card that can turn into a 214 to help you seize priority is incredible. They're always going to have to be worrying about that. And because this deck is so focused on trying to seize priority, having a card that you can play for cheap, play off curve, and get gigantic on, you know, turn 4, turn 5 as you go into turn 6 feels incredible. Grandmaster, another. It's a shame that I think this play pattern of Star-Lord Master of the Sun, where it's encouraging people to skip most turns of the game and then retreat for 1 if they don't draw into their card, that's such an unfun play pattern, because Grandmaster, this is the best Grandmaster deck I think there's ever been. You are using this card primarily to copy your Star-Lord on turn 5, your Star-Lord on 4, you're going to get if you floated 3 turns worth of energy, you get an additional 3 energy, so it's 8 energy on turn 5, which lets you Zola Grandmaster, Absman Grandmaster, that sort of thing. Being able to just send Star-Lord again into the middle, make him huge, is incredible. Sometimes you can get really tricky and like Grandmaster your Fang Foom or Grandmaster your Arnim Zola. There's a lot of cool pseudo-scammy lines, but Grandmaster here is primarily being used to get a second trigger off of your very powerful Star-Lord Master of the Sun on reveal. Luna Snow. This is your ideal card to play on turn 3, even though you are playing off curve. Or excuse me, you're playing on curve, which is off curve for this deck. A little bit confusing. You want to always play Luna on 3 because you're getting that extra energy for the rest of the turn. If you're planning to play Star-Lord on 4, because you've played Luna on 3, you're going to have 5 energy on turn 4, so you're still getting the 3 turns of floated energy. As a 3/6 body, she is incredibly strong. That Ice Cube is going to be passively buffing your Jim Hammond, and she's awesome. This is a card you want to see on turn 3 every single time. And real quick, I know I'm going back here, but Bruce Banner, if you want, you could cut this card for Daredevil. If you are seeing a lot of the Supergiant list out there, just feel like, oh man, half the decks I'm playing against are built to try and counter me, you can cut Bruce Banner for Daredevil. I have opted to keep Bruce Banner in here, even though I have a great Peach Momoko variant for Daredevil that I did not pay for. It was just like a premium mystery variant. I do enjoy Daredevil and the kind of comfort of knowing what's going on in turn 5. Turn 5 is so important here. I've kept Bruce Banner in, but I just want to flag that as a swap option. But yeah, Luna Snow, freaking incredible. Player down on turn 3. Wave is kind of our backup plan card. So if we're not drawing, there's going to be times where we're not drawing into our Star-Lord combo, we're not getting that. You could always just play Wave on 3, Fang Foom on 4 in a location by itself, and then Zola the Fang Foom as a finisher. It's very much like the Black Panther Arnim Zola line. It really isn't. It doesn't feel great when you're forced into that. But if you're playing against a Supergiant list that is snapping you on turn 3 or snapping you on turn 4 after they've played their Supergiant, like if you see like the Iron Patriot Hydra Bob stuff, and they snap early, you can probably assume they're super gianting you and they're going to feel very confident. You just play wave on 3, Fang Foom on 4. They're going to play their super giant on 4, and you play face down Arnim Zola on 5. Or even if you, there's so many ways for you to counter that deck. This is wave has triggered me into a tangent about like how the super giant deck isn't super well positioned into this list. If you play Star-Lord on 4 and they freaking super giant you on 4, you can just play a face down Arnim Zola. Good luck dealing with that. Oh, you Negasonic my Arnim Zola. Sorry, I got 2 Fang Fooms. But to wrap this back around to wave, wave on 3, Fang Foom on 4, Zola on 6, pretty good. Additionally, she helps you enable your backup plan where you don't draw Star-Lord Master of the Sun, but still want to play this out on turn 6 without doing the kind of memey Fang Foom play line, where if you Luna Snow on 3, Absman the Luna Snow on 4, and play wave out on 5, you're going to be able to play 2 6-cost cards or a 6-cost card in a Juggernaut on turn 6. Additionally, when you have a zillion energy on the final turn of the game, just playing a 3-6 outright after playing your huge energy costing cards feels pretty good. Absorbing Man is kind of the star of this list. He's doing everything. There are so many honor reveals you want to copy. Naturally, having this be a way to trigger your Star-Lord Master of the Sun again on turn 5 is incredible. But he can be a second Zola. He can be a second Alioth, a second Juggernaut, a second Fang Foom. If you're able to seize priority going into turn 6, this is what makes this give you kind of deterministic win states, where you can say, oh, I've got 14 energy going into turn 6. I'm going to Juggernaut the left location because I think they're going to play there. Alioth the middle location, Absorbing Man the right location. That's going to give me pretty much a deterministic win state if they're relying on the effect of that card, because I'm Juggernauting away one location to win, and any of those cards that go into other locations are going to get Alioth. Absorbing Man's what enables that. He's almost like a Zola with different conditions, where it's like Zola, you really want to have just one open card. You don't want to gamble like one card in the space. You don't want to gamble on your Zola. Whereas Absman just says, whatever that last on reveal is, I'm shutting it down. Sometimes in mirrors, just doing an Absman on your Fang Foom can be crazy. It doesn't matter that he's 7 power, less than your Fang Foom. He's still going to copy their Fang Foom and go up to 47 power as well. It's pretty nuts. I'm glad Absman. Again, there's a lot of cards in here that I'm glad they're getting a chance to shine, but I just really I don't love that this deck is as good as it is. Juggernaut, yes, Juggernaut. This was a big innovation from Derek in pulling this list together. This list is, I'm going to co-credit it to Roram and Derek. Juggernaut in here. This is one of the big reasons why, early on in the season, if you watch yesterday's video, I was climbing with Man-Spider. I loved Man-Spider at the end of the January season. I felt that the Pixie Man-Spider list was the best combo list in the game. It ate Show Lao decks for breakfast. It really only had to worry about Cosmo. But now, with cards like Juggernaut, even the Dexter list that was we were still trying to do high Evo, it's like, Star-Lord's a high Evo card. We can use this to play Juggernaut and high Evo Hulk on the last turn of the game. Juggernaut's text is effectively the same as Alioth in a lot of conditions, where it just says, I win the game in a lot of ways. Being able to do a huge power play in a location and then stealing another location with Juggernaut is timeless, and this is now the best list to do that in. On top of being able to run Alioth and Fang Foom and do all of this energy cheat stuff, it is now the best Juggernaut list too. So this is a great companion piece for whatever your giant 6-cost card is that you're playing on turn 6. You're almost never playing Juggernaut out early, unless you're like doing the Nexus and you're playing Juggernaut on 5 and then Absmanning it on 6 in a very weird scenario. But this is a turn 6, shut the door, finisher type of card. Star-Lord Master of the Sun. Oh man, this is we're less than a week, at the time of this video coming out. We're just barely a week into the season, and it feels like there's already nothing left to say about this card. He really surprised everybody. For those that don't know, in the data mines, he did not have this last sentence of "this gains that much power," and I wonder if that's how they nerf it, because Because you want to copy this card with things like Zola or Grandmaster, the fact that it gains that much power is a huge benefit. Like it being able to go from a 4/8 to a 4/12, that's huge. It probably doesn't need that power with how easy it is to copy it and just get huge plays with your Alioth and Fang Foom, Arnim Zola, all those crazy play lines, but this is maybe the best card in the game right now. I think I feel like Show Lao at its peak was stronger, but people are going to get triggered a lot more easily because with Show Lao, at least, your opponent had to like play the game. That's a bit hyperbolic because you're still playing the game, you're playing off curve, but it is possible to just do nothing for the first 3 turns of the game, Star-Lord on 4, copy Star-Lords on 5, and then just do a bunch of stuff on 6. And it's like, oh, I played nothing for half the game, I still won in a landslide. It can be very frustrating. You want to play Star-Lord on 4, copy him a bunch on 5 with cards like Zola, I almost said Fang Foom, Zola, Absman, and Grandmaster, and then profit on turn 6. Seize priority and destroy. Legion. Legion's kind of a flex spot here. If you are seeing a lot of mirrors, like you're seeing a bunch of people playing this, Legion might be better as Red Hulk, but that's going to be more of a meta call. Legion can be just this is the last remaining powerful scams card in Marvel Snap, in my opinion. If you end up playing a bounce list and you hit Crimson Cosmos, you can just auto win the game. If you are playing against someone trying to get greedy with a magic deck because Merlin has totally disappeared from the metagame following the release of Star-Lord Master of the Sun, you can Legion and destroy stuff. People who are banking on the hot location, Legion and destroy stuff. Legion is a very skill expressing card where the more you understand about location interactions and your deck versus your opponent's deck, the more value you can get on this card. That's not me trying to sound pretentious and be like, oh, Legion is for the fine, super technical players. But it really is just like, oh, I know this location completely screws my opponent's deck. I'm going to turn all 3 locations into that on turn 5 or at the beginning of turn 6 where I have priority, and that's going to win me 8 cubes. If you're a newer player and you're just not comfortable knowing all the matchups, this can easily be Red Hulk. But Legion at the last scams card. I'm a Legion lover. As you can see, I actually spent the 8 spotlight keys to get this variant when it released. That was a big dig, but with this split, I'm very happy. Legion's great. Love to see him. Arnim Zola. There's an argument to be made that Arnim Zola is the best card in this deck because it can copy your Fang Foom. My favorite line with Arnim Zola isn't even a Fang Foom line, actually. It is on turn 4 playing Star-Lord in the left or right location. Turn 5, copying the Zola. Or no, excuse me. I'm getting ahead of myself. Turn 5, playing the Zola on Star-Lord Master of the Sun. Because if you played off curve correctly, you will have Star-Lord on 4 will give you 3 additional energy on turn 5. So you'll have 8 energy on turn 5. So you Zola the Star-Lord. Then you play Grandmaster into that location where Star-Lord was by himself to Grandmaster the Arnim Zola, send Zola to the middle location, and create 2 additional Star-Lords. If you want even more shenanigans, if you can set things up so you have Jim Hammond Human Torch in the middle location before you do that combo, your Zola now has a 50-50 to hit the Jim Hammond and create 2 112s, 113s in the final turn of the game, or hits that Star-Lord and it makes that center location like a 122 Jim Hammond. It's insanely powerful. And then you just make sure to Juggernaut that Jim Hammond location so they don't Fang Foom you. It's nuts. I love it. Arnim Zola is part of our backup plan where we talk about Wave and Fang Foom Arnim Zola. You can do that as well. It makes things go crazy. You just have to be mindful of your positioning because your board fills up very quickly with your ice cubes, with all the cards you're playing on turn 5 and turn 6. So if you want to use Zola, you just have to plan a few steps ahead. Alioth, the purple fart cloud, is back. He's been gone for months, but because of how combo-centric the metagame had become, where people were coming into the season wanting to do like man-spidery stuff, it was very easy to, like in that Fallen 1 Symbiote Spider-Man list I used to get 3 Infinity Borders last season, it was so easy to just throw priority, and then you just say, you're not playing Alioth, you're not playing Juggernaut, you're not playing these priority seizing tech cards, Maybe you're playing Cosmo or Shadow King, so I'm losing priority and I'm gonna pop off with Man Spider stuff. Alioth has ended that with it being so good to play in this list. If you're playing the Hella list or the Machine Gun Gambit list, good luck if you're because you probably are losing priority on those lists. Alioth shuts you down. Alioth Zola. Alioth Absorbing Man. Alioth just on their Fang Foom if you have enough power to do it. This is closing the door in such a huge way. This is like maybe the best this card has been since it was in its like 6-4, like where the text was like it just destroys cards that were here. Just like it's wild. It is wild. Play Alioth. Thin Fang Foom. This card's gonna get nerfed. This card's so good. Its text this is a lot like how Alioth and Juggernaut's text effectively says, I win this location. If you're playing it in the right situation, Fang Foom's text is basically that too. Because people aren't flooding the board with a lot of lower cost cards in this list, or like lower power cards, like, yeah, you have to worry about the Luna Snow Ice Cube. Fang Foom, if it's kind of the yin and yang here. If you lose priority and you're able to dodge the Alioth and the Juggernaut, you can take their superpower. You can take their Fang Foom power and put it on yours. You can Fang Foom Absman do stuff. He's just the biggest guy right now, and you are very interested in playing big guys with all your extra energy because you have so much tech to support it. He is an absolute menace alongside Star-Lord, Master of the Sun. If you want more in-depth deck guides, weekly meta reports, tips and tricks on how to hit infinite or achieve your rank goals, please hit that subscribe button. You're in the right place. We got tons more content coming on the channel. Like I've said many times, kind of low on this meta. Please sound off in the comments. Let me know what you think of this meta. How would you nerf Star-Lord? You know, like, comment, helps the video a ton. And while you're here, check out the video that's on your screen right now. It's another really cool piece of Marvel Snap content. I'm Kicker of Elves. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.